Hi guys, it's Matthew here. Welcome back to another video on my channel today. Today in this episode, guys, well, since spooky season is around, I thought it might be a good idea to rank the 6 big horror franchises. So, included in this ranking is going to be the Halloween franchise, the Scream franchise, the Friday the 13th franchise, the Chucky franchise, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and the Saw franchise. So I am going to be ranking all 6 of those franchises from worst to best, as a matter of fact. I know the 3 big horror franchises are Friday the 13th, Halloween, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I know Scream takes the 4th spot. And I thought it might be nice to throw Chucky and the Saw franchise on here because I feel like they're talked about just as much as the other 4, as a matter of fact. So yeah, guys, I thought this might be a good, fun ranking video to do, as a matter of fact. So yeah, guys, be sure to share your ranking down below in the comment section. My list is not the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see your list as well, guys. And also, guys, those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do more than just movies and physical media related content. I also do LEGO related stuff. I play video games. I do all sorts of stuff like that here on the channel. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure to go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy. And please make sure you share this video with friends, click like on this video, and hit that red subscribe button, but most importantly, press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are not new to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. So without any further ado, guys, enjoy the video. Let's get started here. Okay, so coming in last place at number 6, I have to give it to the Saw franchise. So now, with these movies in particular, I feel bad putting this franchise in last place, because I know there's a lot of Saw fans out there, but I would say out of all 6 of these franchises, this one is the least consistent. And I don't mean by this franchise has more bad movies out of every other franchise on this list. This is the one that has the most movies that I truly do not like. I like the first 3 Saw movies. The first 3 Saw movies were really good. I actually think Saw 3 is an underrated horror sequel, because I really like Saw 3. Saw 4, I wasn't real crazy about. Saw 5 was a decent movie. It was it improved over Saw 4. And then Saw 6 was my least favorite out of the bunch. I did not like Saw 6 at all. I didn't like Saw 3D either. That movie was garbage, in my opinion. And then I don't care for the Jigsaw movie either. The Jigsaw movie was trash, in my opinion. And then Spiral from the Book of Saw was probably the best one since Saw 3, in my opinion. But then you get into the Great Saw X. That one was my favorite out of this entire franchise. I even liked this one. I even would put this one over any of the first 3 Saw movies. It was that good. I like the whole prequel aspect to this movie. There's not a lot of kills in this movie. And I thought with this movie, and the concept of this movie, there didn't need to be so many kills. So I just thought, yeah. this movie, this movie did not need that many kills because the concept is very simple, and it limited its kills compared to the other Saw movies, because the whole point of this movie is that John Kramer gets scammed because his cancer didn't get cleared, and he goes after the 4 people that scammed him, and those are the main 4 people that he tries to kill. So yes, there was not a lot of kills in this movie. That movie was very simple. So like I said, there's a couple of movies that I like in this franchise, but it's easily the worst franchise on this list. Just because there's a couple of different movies I don't particularly care for. Up next at number 5, I have to give it to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So now, when it comes to the big 3 horror franchises, it's like, are you a Michael Myers fan? Are you a Jason Voorhees fan? Or are you a Freddy Krueger fan? Personally, Freddy Krueger, out of the big major 3 that most people acknowledge and talk about, Freddy is my least favorite. And that is because this is another this is just like the Saw franchise where it's just like the Saw franchise where I like the first 3 movies, but then after that there's a lot I don't like, but there's like 1 or 2 movies that I think are pretty good, as a matter of fact. I really enjoyed this franchise for what it is. The thing I liked about the original Nightmare on Elm Street is that it was like a slasher and a thriller put together in one movie. Because Freddy Krueger is a slasher villain, but he's not from this world like Jason and Michael are. He's a demon from a different dimension. So if he's a slasher villain, and if he's also a demon for another dimension, you have the horror part and the thriller part. Combine them together, it's like a slasher thriller horror movie, in my opinion. And then when you get to A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, that one was a great sequel, because they were able to come up with like another story, and they were able to come up with like another story after the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. But then when you get into A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, that movie, that is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and that is because in my opinion, it closes out those first 2 movies really well, and the concept is different from the first 2 movies, because instead of Freddy taunting people, you have you have this group of kids that Freddy taunts, and they try to use their dreams against him, and they like bring them together like Avengers style, and the way that movie ends was perfect. So in my opinion, this should have stayed as a trilogy. I even felt that way with the first 3 Saw movies, aside from Saw X. Like that should not have been a franchise. That it should have sticked with the first 3 movies. John Kramer dies in the 3rd movie, and it closes out that trilogy perfectly. But then it just felt like they spawned a bunch of sequels that weren't very good, and just made it more upsetting. But then after Dream Warriors, you get into A Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master, and in my opinion, that movie was garbage. That was by far my least favorite A Nightmare on Elm Street movie, in my opinion, because you have the surviving characters from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors killed off, and then we get introduced to all these new characters that don't know anything about Freddy. They don't know anything about Freddy. They're panicked. They're in terror. And there's this one girl that ends up turning into a cockroach. And I hate that part. I do not like this movie at all whatsoever because it just felt like they killed the surviving characters off that know stuff about Freddy, but then you have these new characters that know nothing about Freddy, and so it's about them trying to figure out what Freddy does, and it just makes for an upsetting piece of crap in my opinion. But then you get into A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and that movie in particular was a little bit better than the Dream Master, but it still wasn't a very good movie in my opinion. And then you get into Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. I know a lot of you people say that's the worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but personally, I kind of have fun with that one as a guilty pleasure because a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street fans don't think they don't like it because of the goofy, over the top silliness that it has. But personally, that's kind of why I enjoy it, is because of all the silly stuff that's in it. But then after that, you have Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And I know a lot of you people really like that one too, but I didn't. I was not real crazy about that one at all. But then the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was really good, and I also really liked Freddy vs. Jason as well, as a matter of fact. So yeah, this is a franchise that this is just a franchise that fell flat for me. Yeah, and in my personal opinion, they should have just stuck with the first 3 movies and didn't touch it after that. Up next at number 4, I have to give it to the Chucky franchise. So now with the Chucky franchise, there's fans of this one too. And personally, I would say I'm a decent enough fan, but I'm not like a super fan, but I really do like Chucky a lot. And there's 2 reasons why I don't have this franchise higher. For one, this franchise, in my opinion, is kind of considered more like a guilty pleasure, because it's not meant to like be serious like the Halloween or Friday franchise. It's meant to be silly because Chucky is a killer doll. And 2, the last 2 movies in this franchise, I do not care for at all. The last 2 movies in this entire franchise are these last 2 movies suck, in my opinion. I was not a fan of Curse of Chucky, and I also did not like Cult of Chucky. I really liked the first 3 Child's Play movies. Bride of Chucky is my favorite. And then I also really like Seed of Chucky. I know a lot of you Chucky fans don't like that one, but personally, I enjoy it. I think it's a good solid. I thought it was a good follow-up from Bride of Chucky, as a matter of fact, and I actually had fun with that one. But then when we get into like a Curse of Chucky, it wasn't what I wanted after I've watched Seed of Chucky. Like the way that 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 Seed of Chucky ended with Timothy Ballantyne inside Jennifer Tilly's body and Glenn's soul inside inside a little boy's body. I thought what they easily could have done is picked up where that last movie left off, and they could have called it Revenge of Chucky, because Chucky didn't get his soul transferred into a human body, so he's like after Tiff and Glenn because they left him behind. I would want to see that more than just get introduced to like this family and find out where truly Charles Lee Ray came from. And I will say Nika Pierce is one of the better characters that we have gotten in the recent Chucky stuff, but still, I do not care for this movie. I do, like I said, I think she's a good character that we have gotten recently and all the different Chucky stuff that we have gotten. But yeah, this movie just did not feel necessary in my opinion. I felt like they could have easily did like a revenge Chucky story because Tiff and Glenn left him behind. So yeah, well, I don't know how many of you would agree with me on that, but that's just my personal opinion. Like, I felt like they could have easily made like another trilogy, like they did with the first three Child's Play movies, as a matter of fact. But they decided to go a different route that I didn't care for. And then the last movie, Cult of Chucky, what I actually thought was worse because there was no storyline to that movie. I liked how they brought Andy Barclay back. I liked how they did that. But then it closes out with nowhere to go. Chucky and Tiff are reunited because Chucky gets his soul and Nika Pierce's body, and then they're reunited when literally the last time they saw each other they were mad at each other, and just all of a sudden they just love each other again. But I think what really saves this franchise for me was the Child's Play remake. I actually thought that was a really good remake just because I liked the whole modern Chucky doll concept that they went for. But the first two seasons of the TV series I liked, but then when you finish out season 3 of the Chucky TV series, it has another terrible ending because it's left on a cliffhanger with nowhere to go. I did hear that season 4 of this show got canceled, but I heard another Chucky movie is still on the table. So if you're still worried about that cliffhanger, don't worry. There's going to be another Chucky movie, and I have a feeling it will tie in to where season 3 left off, because that's what the first 2 seasons of Chucky did. The first season picked up where Cult of Chucky left off, but the second season actually picked up where we last saw Glenn. And that's really why I liked season 2, is because they were able to bring Glenn back. But then season 3 was really good up until the end, because it was just left on a cliffhanger, and when I watched that, I was all like, what? This is really how you're ending it? And when I reviewed this TV series, I was all like, I sure hope they do a season 4 or another Chucky movie at the very least, just to pick up where that cliffhanger left off, because that is not how that franchise should have ended, in my personal opinion. Like, Like, yeah, they should have they should have closed it out better, in my opinion. Up next, at number 3, I have to give it to the Friday the 13th franchise. So now, just like the Chucky movies, except for, I don't think these movies are guilty pleasures because they're not meant to be silly or funny. They're meant to be serious, like the Halloween franchise. But just like the Chucky TV series, I think all these movies are good until you get to the last two movies. The last two movies suck. And yeah, the second to last movie, like Curse of Chucky, the second to last movie in the Friday the 13th franchise is Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. And that movie was abysmal. Like, I would rather go watch Curse of Chucky again over this movie, because this movie was not very intriguing at all, in my opinion. But then the one after that I thought was even worse, and that was Jason X. I thought this movie was worse than Jason Goes to Hell. This movie is as goofy as shit. And yeah, the whole concept in this movie is not very good either. And the CGI in this movie is really bad. Same thing with Jason Goes to Hell. The entire CGI in that movie is crap. And I just felt like if they wanted to do like another 2 Friday the 13th movies, they could have easily made the special effects just as good as like the other 8 movies. But yeah, the storylines in those last 2 movies weren't very good. The Jason Goes to Hell wasn't very good either. Jason Goes to Hell was terrible, and Jason X was really worse. I don't think I even finished Jason X, to be honest. And I don't think I've even finished Jason Goes to Hell either, as a matter of fact. But again, this franchise was saved for me because I really like Freddy vs. Jason, and I also really liked the Friday the 13th remake just as much as the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. The reason why I liked the Friday the 13th remake and the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, because I know a lot of you like the Friday the 13th remake a lot, but you don't like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake at all. But personally, I like them both the same because I feel like they took the original movie and modernized it to make like a modern version of it. And I thought they did a good job at doing that. So I really like the remakes, and I really like Freddy vs. Jason as well. But those last 2 movies just fall flat for me, as a matter of fact. Our runner-up at number 2 is going to be the Halloween franchise. So now I know a lot of you guys put this franchise as your number 1. I get it. Michael Myers is the best horror character in my opinion. He's my second favorite. He's my third favorite horror icon, but he's the second best horror killer because my first favorite horror icon is Pennywise. But with the Halloween franchise, this is easily one of the best horror franchises ever made, in my opinion. Because, but with this movie, it's kind of the opposite of some movies because this franchise actually goes back and forth for me. Like like recently with the Saw and Nightmare on Elm Street movies, I felt like there was a lot of good movies and a lot of bad movies in those franchises. But with the Friday the 13th franchise and the Chucky franchise, the last two movies in both of those franchises sucked. But with the Halloween franchise, it shapes back and forth because obviously the first one is great and a masterpiece. The Halloween 2 was a decent sequel in my opinion, but I was not a fan of how that movie ended, as a matter of fact, which was weird, because usually I like the second one. Usually I think the second movie is a good sequel in the rest of these franchises, but not for this one. And then Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, I do not care for. That is my least favorite Halloween movie. And I like the 1-2 punch of Halloween 4 and 5. I really like those two movies. But then The Curse of Michael Myers, the sixth movie in the franchise, I did not care for that. Halloween H2O I liked, and I also had fun with Halloween Resurrection as a guilty pleasure. But I do not like the two that Rob Zombie did at all. So technically there's 4 movies in this franchise I don't particularly care for, because I like the entire Blumhouse trilogy. I'm a big defender of Halloween Ends. And so, because I really liked Halloween Ends, and I thought Halloween Kills was really good too, but I would say the best one out of that trilogy was the 2018 Halloween movie, and that is arguably my favorite Halloween movie, because I like the whole Legacy sequel premise of that. They're able to bring Michael and Laurie back, Laurie Strode's daughter back, but then she's got a granddaughter now. I really liked how that movie played out, and that one's easily the best Halloween movie for me. But like I said, the number one the franchise I have at number 1 on this list, I think, is more consistent in the Halloween than the Halloween franchise, because there is 4 movies in this franchise that I don't particularly care for, in my personal opinion. But yes, Michael Myers is one of the best horror killers. He's one of the best horror icons in general. He is on the Mount Rushmore of horror. So yeah, Michael, Jason, Freddy, and Ghostface, all 4 of those guys are on the Mount Rushmore of horror. So they definitely deserve a spot on this list somewhere. But for me, easily coming in the first place, I have to give it to the Scream franchise. So now, I really like the Scream franchise. And I feel like what makes this, I feel like with this franchise, it's pretty unique, because Ghostface is the only horror killer and the only horror icon that's multiple people. So he's the only character that's different characters, different personalities, different motivations, different identities, and yeah, he's the only one that's like multiple people. And so when it comes to Ghostface, it's like, well, which one are you talking about? One of the good ones like Billy and Stu, or one of the shit ones, as a matter of fact. And I love the first Scream movie. I think I really love the first Scream movie, like a lot of you people do. I really like Scream 2 as well. And Scream 3, I will admit, is probably the weakest movie in the franchise, but I still thought it was a good movie though. But then 10 years, but then like 11 years before we get before we get Scream 5 and 6, we have Scream 4. And I'm not a fan of Scream 4. If you had to ask me, Scream 4 is the only movie that that I don't particularly like in this franchise. And that is another reason on why this franchise is number one on my list, because Scream is the only franchise on this list that where I only dislike one movie. All the other franchises on this list, there's at least 2 movies that I don't particularly care for. And the reason why I'm not a fan of Scream 4, I know a lot of you people think Scream 4 is better than Scream 3, and some of you even think it's the best Scream follow-up, but in my opinion, it's definitely the worst Scream movie, because I was not a fan of Jill Roberts as Ghostface. She didn't even look that suspicious. Charlie Walker didn't even look suspicious either. When Jill is revealed as Ghostface, Charlie is also revealed as Ghostface, and we find out that his only motive was that he just did all the killing just so Jill can try to keep the blood off her hands and go after Sidney. And I did not like her as a character, as a Ghostface. If she wasn't Ghostface at all, I would definitely appreciate her a lot more. And I would say, and I mean, I would appreciate her a lot more. But since she's revealed as Ghostface and all she wants to do is kill Sidney, I thought that motive was lame, and I was very happy that they killed her off, because she, in my opinion, she didn't deserve to carry on the franchise. But I heard the original plan for Scream 5 is that Jill was going to end up getting away with it at the end of Scream 4, and then Sidney Prescott was going to have amnesia, and she ends up going to college with Jill Roberts in Scream 5. A lot of people and Chris from C3C Films said he really wished he would have got that movie. He also said he's more bummed that Jill is more confirmed dead in this world as of right now than Stu is. And Stu is my favorite Ghostface in this entire franchise. And yeah, all the other Ghostfaces are pretty good. Like Jill and Charlie Walker are the only 2 I don't particularly care for. But then, after Scream 4, they really saved it with Scream 5 and 6, because I really liked Scream 5 and 6. But it's also kind of disappointing that we're getting Scream 7. That's the good news, is that we're for sure getting Scream 7 now. But the bad news is Marissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are not returning to the Scream franchise. The actress that played Kirby, I don't think is returning either. So when I ranked the Scream franchise a few months back, I said Scream 6 was my favorite Scream movie, but now I'm afraid that most likely that one's gonna move down in my ranking, because they weren't able to have a full-fledged out trilogy with the Carpenter sisters like they have planned to, as a matter of fact. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Scream 7. But easily, out of the 6 big horror franchises, Scream comes in at number 1 in my ranking, as a matter of fact. So there you have it, guys. There is my ranking of all 6 of the big horror franchises. As a matter of fact, let me know down in the comments section what is your ranking of all 6 of these franchises, as a matter of fact. So yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys are new to the channel, I do more than just the movies and physical media related content. I also do Lego related stuff, and I play video games. I do all sorts of stuff like that here on the channel. So if you guys like to watch anything like that on YouTube, be sure to go check out my channel, because there will definitely be something in there for you to enjoy. And be sure you click like on this video, share this video with your friends, and hit that red subscribe button. But most importantly, make sure you press that notification bell so you don't miss anything in the future. And those of you guys that are not new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you go subscribe right after this video, guys. Without further ado, guys, I'm going to go bringing you back to more videos, because more videos are on the way, sooner rather than later, as a matter of fact, guys. But with that said, though, guys, take care, drink water, and stay safe, and I will see you all in the very next video. Bye!